We have only 35 chambers. There is no 36.
I know that. But I want to create a new chamber.
And what would that be?
I think Shaolin techniques should be available to all. So then, that's my idea for a new chamber. To teach the martial arts to the people. Anybody.
All right, welcome back to another episode of My 3 Cents. And I wanted to jump on today and, I normally talk about more spiritual topics, things that are metaphysical, so they're dealing in the seen and the unseen. And right now, the popular topic seems to be the coronavirus still because of the conditions of the country and the changes that it's made with everybody and what everybody's going through right now. So I felt like today's episode, I needed to get on and go ahead and just continue to talk about the virus and go a little bit more in depth of what we mentioned before and just the mind state of the people. Because some of the people I've been talking to have been bringing up the fact that the different conditions as far as what people are thinking with their work-life balance, with the immediate change that has happened. So the different positions that some people are finding themselves in. And for some people, it's uncomfortable. And for some people, it's almost like a vacation. Except when we start thinking about the money, the bills, and stuff like that. So we got to realize these systems that are working us to death are, that we're kind of anxious to get back to are the same ones that's hurting us. So, this is a whole cycle. It's almost like a cycle of abuse. And it's almost like trauma, and it's almost like forgiving the person that's doing something to you, and you keep going back and they keep beating you up and you keep going back and you keep saying, well, maybe it's going to be different this time, but it never really turns out different, right? We've all been in some type of situation that's ran that scenario. So that just shows you, one of the multiple blueprints that many of us deal with, and that's just how life is designed, right? This is life's design. So as far as the coronavirus, I know before we were talking about things like 5G, different theories and things that people were saying that actually triggered what we're calling the coronavirus. I gave you a little bit of history on the coronavirus as far as it's been out since the 30s. It's not anything new. It's actually just a upper respiratory type of virus, what they call SARS. And this is another form of it. This is the COVID-19 strain, right? This is that form. So this is just a different formulation, something that somewhat of a mutation of something that's been around for a long time, has been causing problems for a long time. Just like the bird flu, the swine flu, and different things like that, that is all the same strand, okay? These are all the same diseases, but they're being altered, right? They're either being altered or they're just, well, what they tell us is that, they're just popping up already altered in nature. So we don't know who caused what, and at this point, that's not really important. One thing I did find interesting was that they say it came from China, but it's funny that our numbers are extremely higher than where it supposedly came from. So I don't know. I just thought that was odd. Why would we have higher numbers than where it came from? So that was just, I don't know. Thought that was worth mentioning. Also, what I'm hearing now in the media is that this thing is attacking black people. I don't know if you've heard this yet. That's the new spin on the virus, is that it's attacking melanated people. Now, you got a lot of celebrities and people coming out saying the COVID-19, this thing is real, take this thing really serious, it's a killer. But what they're not ever going to mention to you is that this whole thing, any virus, already depends on the condition of the host. Once it tries to join up with the host, depending on the condition of the host, That is the key. This thing cannot flourish when it does not have the proper environment, right? So we're talking alkalinity levels. We're talking about acid versus alkalinity. We're talking about mucus. We're talking about these type of things. Very simple. Water, B complex, elderberry, different little supplements that do things to help the immune system and the respiratory system. Many things. But these are things they will not mention because it only takes a few seconds to mention that, and it can help everything. So you know that the point is not to try to stop this. The point is to kind of milk this to, what I'm seeing is that they're milking it to kind of bring about change in a lot of different areas as far as healthcare, medicines, chemicals, the formulation of different medicines for different reasons. They might try to alter more laws as far as forcing people to get vaccinated. This is the kind of stuff we're looking at with this whole, what they call epidemic, right? Or pandemic, because they love using that term. I already broke down the whole pan connection with nature and, the whole thing they're trying to do with that. And even the name corona, as far as the coronavirus. Remember, corona means crown, but crown is defined as the upper region, right? So you're looking at the top or upper part of the body or head as well. So these are all things that the term corona can cover by definition. Also, and one very important definition of corona that I did mention before in a previous episode was that it is also the light or the light energy or the aura that comes off of the sun or the moon, right? Or anything of light, even you, but you just can't always see it. Some of us can see auras on people, some people can't, right? They just haven't, really been shown how to do that. But we all have those electromagnetic fields. This is also partly what's responsible for your aura. So it's not something that's really mystical and outlandish. It's just things that a lot of people have never really looked into. So to them, it's always been kept in a place that's kind of taboo and damn near unnecessary for them to look into because, they don't see that it serves any type of purpose because they have been functioning so far just fine. So why look into things, right? That's how some people think. That's actually probably how the average person thinks. So we all know that, I know this audience and people that come back and listen and people I talk to outside of this that are also listeners and supporters, we're not the average. So that's why this is our kind of stuff, right? And so yeah, here we go. So remember too, that's also used to describe the aurora borealis, which is the northern lights. So corona would also be used to describe the northern lights, right? The visual light show that you see in the sky in that hemisphere. So keep that in mind as well. So this has to do with energy. The coronavirus would essentially be then the aura virus, right? It will be the virus that attacks your energy, your outward input of energy. And this is also why I feel like it's associated with social distancing. Because they don't really want you connecting with people. It's not all about that virus because guess what? Virus has been existing forever. Whenever you choose to highlight one and count how many people are catching it, that's up to you. People die all the time. These are just the facts of this place and what happens, right? And even when you just look at the actual flu, the World Health Organization, you can go to their website. You can look this information up. The flu kills about 60,000. The flu kills 600,000 people. The flu kills every year, all around the world. So when you look at those numbers, and I'm not saying that this isn't something that's killing people, but what I'm saying is if the host is in proper health, you don't have to be a part of those numbers. You don't have to fear that. So that's what they're not telling you. They're not suggesting to eat less meat and eat more raw, eat more vegetables in this type of time right now. They're not suggesting anything helpful, right? So you got to look at why this thing is being kind of stretched out and how it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because the fact that it's being stretched out is hurting them but helping them at the same time. The way it's helping them is that it's pushing their agenda. The way it's hurting them is that now they're having to give us money for being at home. So that shows you the inner workings of the system, what's necessary and what's not. The work we do is for them to not have to give us money. When we don't work, they give us money. Now, I don't know if y'all heard that there is going to be a second, check that they're going to give everybody, because they know that this thing has to last at least 4 or 5 months. That would be the only way to justify the amounts of money that they created to use for all this, right? They have to change a certain amount of things and use the money many different ways. That brings change. So when the economy gets this kind of influx of cash to do research and development, when they start giving the people money to stimulate the economy, you got to know that a lot of change is going to happen with how we function day to day. So don't get too attached to how you used to be, because some things might not go back to how they were, right? So just keep that in mind. Also, when you're talking about these checks, they're seeing that it's going to cost them the longer we stay home, right? So they're saying, the Americans want to work. Trump wants everybody to get back to work. He wants things to go back to normal. But at the same time, they can't erase and stop this whole thing as fast as they want things to get back to normal. You see the conundrum. You see the dilemma right there. So with that being the case, we start to see that, wait a minute, if it was so important to be at home and now you're saying let's get back to normal, hey man, some people are going to die, some people are going to live, then we got to understand what was the point of this whole thing. Because viruses have been around forever. They're going to be around. The most important thing is to be equipped to deal with virus. You got viruses and bacteria and things that live in you, like I said before, that need to be alive for you to be alive. So it's not all about destroying that stuff. We got to understand ourselves, and then we'll know how to be balanced and not have to really worry about this kind of stuff. I don't remember the last time I've been sick, or my daughter. We don't get sick. She gets mucus sometimes. She likes cheese and, kids. She's a kid, But we even use something that's natural for that, that's, really made with honey and different things that, honey never goes bad. So these are the things that you take on the genetics of, right? You take in something that doesn't go bad. What does that do for you? It eternally does something. And when you add it to yourself. So these are just simple things, and they're not giving us those type of clues and hints when they're bringing the people on TV. And so now all of a sudden, with the black Surgeon General, they want to talk about how this thing is attacking the black people. Now, here's the connection, and I wanted to re-highlight this. They told you on the CDC websites that this thing was going to attack people that had type 2 diabetes, people that have sickle cell. Now, who gets sickle cell? What race or culture gets sickle cell? We know that, right? And then they said type 2 diabetes. Who has a leading type 2 diabetes? We do. Because things like soul food and stuff like that, right? That's in our genetics to consume, where we have to come into our proper mind state to override old genetics. This is the same as having a computer and resisting the update. You still have a functioning system, but it's not functioning how it could be. It could be making your life easier, but you're choosing to use it this way because that's what you're used to and you like it like that. Tastes good, right? So we got to understand why we in the condition before we just pump all this fear into these viruses and, what they're calling pandemics. They're naming it for you. They're telling you how you should feel. They're giving you all the changes to cause the reactions within you, right? And that's what I really wanted to talk about today, was the mind frame and the mind state of the people that's at home right now. Now we're seeing who's essential. That job where you thought you were so important, and they got your butt at home right now, sweating, right? Because they didn't set you up. They give you the lifestyle you needed and wanted, that you thought you needed. Now you're worried about how that's going to continue if they got you at home, because they control what we do. Simple and plain. It's not a suggestion to stay home. It's stay home. We really don't want to enforce it, but we will. And we can. More importantly. So we got to understand that these things don't even have to affect us if we are in the proper conditions ourselves. Right? So with this whole thing now being directed at melanated or black people, they're starting to talk about, well, maybe it's because black people don't have access to proper health care. Now they're trying to say we don't take care of ourselves, but that's just their code way of saying it. They're trying to say we don't care about taking care of ourselves because we do not subscribe to their practitioners' practice. Because we don't subscribe to be an experiment, a human experiment, we don't take care of ourselves, right? That's what they say. When the truth is, we're more equipped to take care of ourselves than any other creature on the planet. We don't get killed by the sun. You see? We actually get vitamins and minerals from the sun, so we got to understand who gets cured and killed by what and start to move that way. And you ain't got to worry about this. The thing is killing us by the numbers, because you got to look at how many of us are still doing the old stuff, drinking all them sodas. I mean, just everything. Haven't changed lifestyles ever. That's what's killing you, not the virus. The virus is just exacerbating what was already wrong with you. The imbalances that you had. This is like some type of genetic thing that can trigger your imbalances. And if you are already in a condition that's not conducive to good health, then guess what? You might be one of the next victims and just be one of the numbers. And when they're telling you all these people look, my daughter is 9 years old, and she noticed with the news that they're saying, okay, 200 something deaths, right? We don't mock people transcending and stuff like that. We understand the process and what it really is that's happening. But now, right now, we're not talking metaphysics. I'm down here on earth talking medicinal. I'm talking bodies talk right now. This is baseline talk, man. We talking flesh right now. We talking earth situations and TV news. We talking government propaganda. We talking social media talk right now. This is petty talk right now. But unfortunately, this is the talk right now. So I'm just jumping in because, look, if you know me, I don't like to talk about what's trending, because people talk about what's trending to get people to click on it or listen to it or watch it. I don't do that. That is not a part of the blueprint for this podcast. I'm also going to do an episode defining what this podcast actually is, because some people might be confused. They say, well, what are we listening to? Is this man's thoughts? Is it his opinion? It's my 3 cents. I told you that before. It's 3 cents instead of 2 cents. It's not dualistic. It's not my opinion versus yours or anybody else's. It's me expressing my inner monologue, right? It's balance. It's the 3. It's me bringing balance to self by not judging what I feel and expressing it. And I'm not judging what anybody else feels about it. So I'm free. So this right here is therapeutic in a sense. And at the same time, people are telling me they're getting something from it. So, hey, it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. I got some great supporters too, man. I got people helping me upgrade my equipment, the whole process. So look, be on the lookout for more quality, more interviews. We're going to be doing interviews. We got all kind of stuff lined up. So, but right now, let's get back on this coronavirus. So, we're talking about people doing the same thing they've been doing. And we're talking about people being at home, being knocked out of the position that they're used to being in. They're not comfortable. They're working from home. You got some businesses that's trying to make your home your new office. You got some companies that recognize this is a time to reflect, take time, and really think about what's important to you, your family moving forward, and come back with a refreshed, renewed mind state. Now, that's what I would be doing if I was the boss or the CEO. If I had people in my company right now, that's what I would be expressing to them. And for all of those that are listening to this that know me and that do any type of business with me, hey, I'm expressing that to you right now. We'll do business after all this. Just right now, focus on the now. Focus on your family. Focus on where you're at. And just get back balance with that, right? Because a lot of people didn't have time to spend this kind of time with their family before. And I was kind of sad to hear that some people are finding it uncomfortable to spend so much time around their family. But I guess that's not surprising, right? Because sometimes, we got to get away. Some of us are in certain situations where we want to move around and we can't, right? I know there's some relationships that's struggling right now because it's just too much FaceTime. They want to get on the phone and FaceTime somebody else. But the condition of now is what we really got to learn how to adapt to, and understand that it's just another test. It's another phase. It's something that's asking something from you, and it's asking your cooperation to regain balance, right? So if you're put at home right now, be there. Stop trying to revisit the job in your mind. Stop trying to say, I'm ready for things to go back to normal. Get out of that mind frame, because that's nowhere. The now is what's real. So hop back in your now and look around. Take a good look around, because everything that you see, feel, and perceive is for you right now in the current moment, and that's what you should be addressing and diving deeper into. So when we talk about what people are doing at home and what they're doing as far as in the mind when they're struggling with these different realities of then and now, what I feel like we're talking about is actuality versus reality. And that's how I kind of want to give it to you, so you can see it that way, as far as just making it a map, right? Kind of like a blueprint. So we're looking at first actuality versus reality. So we know that reality is dealing with the perception, which deals with the senses, right? So we know that your senses and your perception, which is your perception, creates your quote unquote reality. Now we have actuality. Actuality is what's actually happening. It doesn't need your perception. So when we talk about actuality versus reality, we're talking about what's happening now and how things used to be, right? We're talking about now versus then. So we have to also realize, if we're talking about then we're talking about the imagination at this point. If we're talking about now, then we're talking about what's real, right? So this is now real versus imagination. We're talking about what is real versus what was real. This is very important. So like I said, we know that perception is reality, right? The root word is real in reality. Perception is what you perceive to be real, right? It's what seems to be real. So you got to understand that my whole reason for saying that is to say whatever you feel like is your reality right now is only your perception. Just remember that. Everything that you see right now as your reality, that you've been looking around saying, this is the new reality. You got to realize what you're saying. That is only based on your perception. If you take a closer look, you can probably see a little bit more of what's happening. And then you can be in the moment for what it is, because nothing lasts forever. Everything moves on. Everything phases in and out. Everything is about cycles. So don't go psycho being stuck in the cycle. right? Keep it moving. So I also want to say something about the education system. What they doing right now that kind of bothered me is that, it's kind of frustrating dealing with the schools with all these emails and, all you parents, I know you know what I'm talking about right now with the, working online. This is screen time and all kind of stuff that they're kind of impeding on our homes and trying to control the curriculum from nowhere through the internet. I don't agree with that. Because, I was educating my daughter just fine. We already did a schedule that she made that was in line with her different topics that she would touch on in school, her different subjects. But we would find creative ways, or I would find, and create curriculum for her to still learn those things at home. But instead of basic math, maybe we was doing universal mathematics, or maybe we was doing sacred geometry, right? We were out in nature. We were observing things. So I don't know, man. I feel like they should trust us more with our own seed, with our own kids, and, let us define how we do what we do right now. Leave everybody alone. If we social distancing, that's not just me touching you and being in arm's reach of you. That's stop bugging me over the internet and over the phone, because right now is right now. And when it's school time, it'll be school time. Now, the parents should have sense enough to know, work with your kids. I think the parents already know that. I don't think they're going to let the kids just sit around and do nothing. But here's the other side to that coin. I do know that the teachers have to do something to continue to get paid. And to justify being paid, they got to do all this stuff, like they're trying to help the kids. I get it. But at the same time, it's a job. Right? So, it is what it is. It's just frustrating right now, but my daughter, she flies through her schoolwork. It's not a big deal. I don't like the added screen time. I don't like the fact that everything's being monitored and, kept up with, but it is what it is, right? We ain't going to complain. We're just going to work with it, work through it, move on. Things will change. And change is necessary in life, right? So, let me see if I missed anything with this COVID-19, what's going on with it right now. As far as the black people or the melanated people, man, just change your habits, just drink more water, get off the sugar for sure. If you still drinking soda, man, you still back in the 90s. Quit drinking soda. Who drinks soda right now, man? You know that's acid. Come on. You know what soda does. Put that soda away. In the store buying big gulps. Come on, man. I go to the store. I'm the only one either getting some coffee or getting some water. I'm the only one. We in the store. We look like eyeballs compared to what everybody else doing. They get the biggest sodas. These sodas are like little buckets of soda. I'm like, I think they just pour them on their heads when they get in the car. They just pour the whole thing, These some big buckets. And I can't imagine what that's doing inside. So the only reason I mention it is because I care about our people. I care about all of y'all. All of y'all should care about each other. I talk about race and culture a lot, but I'm telling you, when it comes down to it, this color stuff don't matter. But what I spend my time doing is breaking down what it means. Right? I don't care what color you are. It's all about your attitude and your persona at the end of the day. And then it comes down to your spirit once I get past your persona. But as far as color, that don't matter. But the truth does need to be told about different topics. Because if they made a point to lie about different things, we need to make it a point to spread the truth about different things and spread insights about different things, like the magic of melanin and different things like that. You need to look into that kind of stuff and understand your worth. And if you're a European or a Caucasian or whatever the case may be, however you classify or define yourself, I would look into it as well, because it's a lack of something that you could be getting other ways if you just played the game properly. Don't play the game with hate. There's no need to be upset. Different creatures were created, right? I always say black people are not racist. White people are racist. Black people are not racist. Black people just try to reflect the energy they feel like they're getting from racist people. That's what we do. Remember, melanin is a polymer. It starts to shapeshift to things, man. Melanin likes all types of vibration. And it loves low vibration because that's minimum effort. It's easy for melanin to get into to all energy. So you got to understand that the lowest vibration is the easiest energy for melanin to turn into. That's dark matter. That's melanin. That's what they call chaos. It's the cosmic void. I told you, they linked the black man with the black hole a long time ago. They told you that you were made of the same things if you have that melanin, that black that you see when you look up at the sky at night. So this goes deeper than anything we were taught in school. They didn't teach us any of this stuff. That's the issue. That's my issue. And that's why I do what I do now. So whoever finds it, just found it. It's like finding a little bit of money on the ground. Whoever finds these broadcasts, hopefully it's like finding $1 on the ground, right? At least. At least $1. So, but yeah, man, we got to change what we're doing, and we got to share the information. I already told you before, don't be taking Advil, ibuprofen. Don't take things that are anti-inflammatory at a time like this where you're dealing with something respiratory that's going around. So study yourself and you'll know how to move. It's very simple. Anything you're good at, you studied it. Think about something you're real good at. And now think about how you practiced, worked at it, and studied it to where you was doing it unconsciously. That's how it works, right? So do that with yourself and do that with how you move on a daily basis. See your life as the game you're playing, right? Playing ain't always about joking. Because you could have somebody say, man, you play too much. And you can have somebody that's playing a piano or playing an instrument that's almost got you teary-eyed because of the energy they're producing with that sort of play, right? So, you know, playing is can come on multiple levels. So imagine yourself sometime, and this is life is the game that you're playing, and play it that way. Play it like an instrument. Play it in harmony. Remember, your heartbeat is the beat that you play to. That's the beat you exist to. They already told you about the heartbeat. That's the rhythm. A lot of people ain't picking up on those simple clues that are everywhere. So, anyways, I'll tap into that more with the frequency and vibration episode, and I'll also mention how the different vibrations and frequencies will kill the viruses and things that exist on certain frequencies, like everything does. So let's not forget that as well. So you can look into, if you want to see a little bit of that, you can look into what's called cymatics, and that'll show you how frequency and vibration alters the water. You'll be able to see where a lot of patterns and things come from when you look into cymatics. And then it'll take you back inside of yourself to remember that, you're 80 some odd percent water, 70 to 80% water. And so this is what the music and the different frequencies are doing to you, right? Because you're mostly water. So look up the frequencies of music like 440 hertz and type in stuff like 440 hertz cymatics. And I want you to look at what those frequencies look like. And understand that is what it's doing to you on a cellular level. So this is the knowledge of why frequency can kill virus or different things that exist on lower vibrations, right? This is why people say, man, I can feel your vibe. You vibe, we vibing. That just means you're on the same vibration. And we know what that feels like. And we know what it feels like to not be on the same vibration. That's where arguments come from, or conflict. We are on conflicting frequencies. Static. You want some static? You got static with me, right? So we've been talking frequency and vibration the whole time, forever. Yeah, man, just keep washing your hands. Do what you do. Keep it safe. Don't take it too lightly, and understand when and why it should be taken seriously, because it could be your existing condition. And also what I was touching on was that I mentioned that my daughter noticed with the news was that the amount of people dying versus the amount of cases just didn't match up, and there was a big discrepancy, and it looked funny. Because if this thing is that dangerous, why is the number of people having it so high and the death number so low? What is the thing in between? And even with the people that are dying from this, beyond the metaphysics and the metaphysical reason behind their transcendence, if we're just talking physical, they're not telling you the other underlying conditions that the people had. They're just saying that they're dying from COVID-19. I told you before, you can get a lot of false positives from the COVID-19 tests. They already told you through their own information on the CDC that the COVID-19 test can have an 80% rate of false answer. 80%. So that's 80% false positive or negative. So don't go by that, because that tries to pick up on something that a lot of people might have in them, in their genes or in them, that just might not equate to any type of sickness. So if you don't know yourself, you ain't gonna know that kind of stuff, right? So just pay attention. And when you see these numbers shoot up, this is because they do a lot of tests, and they put a lot of tests in at one time. The tests all come back at one time, so the numbers all shoot up. So they'll say, well, in the U.S., 10,000 people died today in the U.S., or 10,000 people have the disease today. No, that's just 10,000 tests came back together, or 30,000, 40, 50, 60,000 tests came back, and 10,000 of them were positive. So we gotta put this stuff in perspective before we freak out. Constantly test your own breaths. This is a respiratory thing. Take a deep breath, inhale through the nose. Fill up your stomach, not your chest. Full body breathe, bypass the lungs. This will also cycle the air in the lungs. Full body breathe. Meditation is still the key with this. So take some of your time at home for meditation. The kids bugging you, look, send them in the room for a minute. You'll figure it out. But think about the bigger purpose that you could be doing with this time. Like I told my friends, and there's some things that we're doing here at the house that I'm not going to disclose right now, but we are working on ourselves all the time. And I said, look, y'all better come out of this thing with some added attributes. You better been at home doing something, reading something, learning something, working out. If you was too big before, when you come out of this, you should be looking slightly different. I mean, it is what it is. Don't use this to go down. Use this to boost up. Boost your immune system. Boost everything. Work out. When you work out, you increase all kind of stuff like dopamine, serotonin. There's all kind of stuff that you start pumping just by working out. So you got this. Everybody got this. Don't freak out. The money, be smart with it. Do what you got to do with it. Look into these programs. I'm not going to get into detail about the programs. Look into these programs. They're giving people that have LLCs $10,000 advance payments on loans that you might and might not get. That's all I'm gonna say about that. You gotta look into this stuff yourself. I can't give you that type of information and advice. This is only for educational purposes. Everything I say, it's nothing for you to believe in. It's stuff for you to go and look into. So, all right, guys, let's take advantage of what's happening and stop looking so down and buying into this whole thing, man. Please. It's about the condition. What condition is your condition in, right? So I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to get on here and talk about COVID-19 real quick, or the coronavirus, or the aura virus, or the virus that attacks the crown, or the crown chakra, or the aura center of the body, right? And the heart chakra, the different energies when we're talking corona. So let's break this thing down. Let's decode it. Let's dissolve it. And let's ride this thing out. And when it's over, we'll all be a little bit stronger. Things might be different, but you'll be stronger for it, right? Because what does not kill you only makes you stronger. Don't take any shots. Don't take any pills. Just work out, drink a lot of water, and take the right supplements as far as just vitamins and minerals. Drink that mineral water, get you some sunlight, and get around some trees if you can at least once a day. Right? So, this has been my 3 cents, man. It's just dropping a quick one. And I'll be right back at you with some more episodes, so stay tuned. Thank you, all the supporters, people that keep coming back, people I'm hearing from that's hitting me up saying, yo, keep it up. I'm getting a lot from this. I'm honored to be doing it. I'm honored that anybody is getting anything from me sitting here and talking about things that I sit around and think about, and these different downloads that come to me since I've had different experiences in my life. And we'll touch on stuff like that more in the future too. So just to give you more insight on me. So if you do want to support the podcast, you could do it through different platforms. You could also reach me through Cash App, which is $KOTR36. That's my Cash App. And I also leave my email in the description now. So if you want to reach me on a personal level and just chat about something, talk about something, or ask me about something in the episodes, feel free to drop me an email or leave a voicemail on a few of these different networks. They have that capability. So make you a free profile, leave me a voicemail, right? I think Anchor does it, and that's the one I'm normally on. So spread the podcast if you got something from it. Be sure to tune back in if it's your first time. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And if this is a repeat listener, welcome back. And I'll see you next time. So until next time, wholeness. This has been my 3 cents.